Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the moments that shape who we have become. Today I'm joined by Nikki Allen, author of Love You, Hate You, a novel that began as a song, transformed into a screenplay, and ultimately become the bold work of fictions rooted in emotional truth. Nikki's story is one of our heartbreak, identity, loss, and the courage decision to choose yourself. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show, Nikki.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, Nikki, what were some of the challenge or choices that shape you into who you have become today?
All of them. That's a loaded question, but we'll kind of confine it to the book a little bit. The book was
Yeah.
basically "You Hated You" is about loosely based about a relationship I was in many years ago that was abusive and toxic. You know, coming out of that, I had to learn how to choose myself, and what that looked like was trying to figure out why I was allowing all of those things to happen to me anyway. And at the end of the day, people only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So it was about choosing me and choosing how I want people to treat me. But the secret is, if you will, is you have to treat yourself that way first, and then you can attract what you want.
Yeah, amazing. You have to treat yourself first, which is more like teaching them how to treat you and then accept what you want. Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. So, this project started as a song, then a screenplay, and finally a novel. What did each versions allow you to express that the other couldn't?
So the actual relationship was the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Then it turned into a song, and of course the song real the lyrics to the song are "I loved you, I hated you, and now I'm releasing you." So, that was the whole cycle that I had to go through, which prompted me to write this screenplay. But instead of me just taking it verbatim what the song was or what the relationship was, I wanted to actually add a love story to it. What would I have really wanted while this was going on? In the book and in the screenplay, a neighbor moves in, a really handsome neighbor moves in, and he starts wooing the character Gabby, which I would have loved to have that happen. That song by Joe, "All the Things Your Man Won't Do." I was kind of in that situation. So that's what the screenplay kind of evolved into, as more of a love story. The novel is really just the screenplay. Full disclosure, the publisher called, asked if I had a book. I said yes, and I turned the screenplay into a book. So
Oh, wow.
that was really how the book became it. So there was no missing components there. So that's how that all came about.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So writing from really emotional pain now take courage. What truths were the hardest for you to confront on the page?
I'm a writer that, most people say they write while they're in the pain. That's how they get through it. I'm kind of the opposite. I can't write when I'm in the pain. It's once I'm through with it and I can look back on it, that's kind of where I write from. So, yeah, that's just my process. I'm incapacitated when I'm going through. I literally shut down. But once I get through it, I look back and I'm like, oh, it's like I start taking notes then, and then I can
Yeah.
create.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So many women actually want to like stay in a relationship that slowly silence them. So looking back, what pattern do you now see more clearly?
That made me stay in that toxic situation. Is that what you're asking me?
That made you stay, or at the point you actually get to leave? What pattern did you see from your partner?
I'm not understanding your question. One more time.
Okay, so many women actually stay in relationship that slowly silence them. So looking back,
Right.
what pattern do you now see more clearly?
Again, not respecting myself the way I should have, not teaching this person how to treat me, but the pattern was me. Like, why was I allowing this? You know, and when I look back and kind of dug into it, it was just self-esteem. What happened to my self-esteem? How did
Mm,
I wasn't raised like that. I was raised to have a lot of confidence, and I treat people well and I expect people to treat me well. So, I had to look at why did I allow this to happen? And for me, when I look back at it, it wasn't necessarily a pattern, but I did lose my mom. And so this person became that anchor for me. And so through my grief, I guess I just held on to this toxic relationship.
Wow, wow, that was really a whole lot. So how did transformation, or how did transforming your pain into an art shift the way you saw your past?
I'm artistically creative anyway, so that really is just my outlet. And I see it's I have a very weird brain. Everything that happens in life, it plays out as a movie. So if you and I were just having a conversation, I'm seeing it as a movie.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
that really is. So it's so funny because I kind of drive people crazy, especially if you're trying to lie to me or gaslight me. Because as you're telling me whatever story it is, it's playing in my brain like a movie, right? So if you skip over something or something doesn't make sense, I clock it right away, and I'm like, wait a minute, let's go back. I guess that's good, and I guess it's not good because I'm like, wait, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. We can't go further because up to here is not making sense. So that's just
Wow.
me. That's how I create. But everything to me is a movie or a story. So it has to make sense. That's just kind of my process.
Wow, wow, that was a lot. And so were there more like a moment during the creative process where you felt true healing begins?
That's you can't really say, when you get to this part, that's when you start to heal. Everybody's journey is their own. And if I'm honest, that relationship was decades ago, and I'm still healing from it. And I didn't
Yeah.
even realize that I was still healing from it until my current partner said something to me, and it triggered an old,
Good.
he was confused, I was confused, but it was still there. And I'm like, dang, I still have that to deal with. So you're always healing. You think you've healed parts, and you have, but then there are things that can pop up and you go, "Oh, I didn't realize that was still an issue." So, it's a constant process.
Amazing. Your work speak to women's rebuilding themselves. What have readers share with you that confirm these stories needed to be told?
Basically, it's been a lot of things, but I guess the most thing is people finding their voice in the relationship. And and what I really hear a lot is thank you for reminding me to love me
Mm,
first, because
mm,
that's the only way through. If you don't love yourself, you can't really you're basically putting a band-aid on it trying to get through it. Self-love, I know it's so corny and so cheesy, and everybody's talking about self love, but it is so true. Like, if you can't look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, then you need to work on your self love. That'll be your test.
wow, wow, wow. Yeah, this is really amazing. And thank you for giving us the litmus test to know. I think this is really like giving that everybody could actually more like get to look at themselves in the mirror and say, do I really, really love myself? And to what extent? Yeah.
I mean, because it sounds silly, but really try it. Because when I first tried it, I was like ducking, I love you. And now I can be, I love you, girl. You are it. You are everything.
Mm,
But it took time to get there. But that's the test. If you can't tell yourself you love you, you are not ready for anybody else.
mm,
Wherever you are is what you're going to attract. Seriously.
mm. Wherever you are.
I'll give you one more test. This one's even deeper. After you're able to look at yourself and say, I love you, kiss yourself and say, I love yourself. It sounds crazy. Very hard exercise.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, amazing. So as you move on, as you move into the next chapter, who are you becoming now? Beyond the heartbreak and beyond the book.
I'm still becoming.
Mm.
When I stop becoming, I think the good Lord will take me home because I have become. But every day
Yeah.
we're learning to be and grow and we're becoming the best humans we can be, and that is what we should all strive for. So you will always be becoming. When you have become, God says, "Good job, well done. Come on,
Yeah.
let's go."
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, what would be your advice to anyone now who is stuck or in a toxic relationship and don't know how to kind of master the courage to come out, but they're still indoor? What would be your more like advice to them?
First of all, give yourself some grace. It's not going to be easy. They say it takes 7 times at least to walk away. So, as long as you take micro steps, and a micro step, the first one could be, I shouldn't be in this relationship. Because a lot of people don't even acknowledge that. So, that's a step, right? once you realize that, start trying to figure out ways. I can't give you those steps because everybody's toxic
Yeah.
relationship is different. But find ways, small ways, to say, I'm out of here. If that means calling a friend, if that means writing it down, I need to
Yeah.
get out. Start planting the seed, because once you start planting those seeds, then you can start watering those seeds. And once you water, something will open up for you to make those steps forward and get out.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Nikki, for sharing the whole of your insight. So, from all those who want to connect with you, or who want to get your book, your art, and everything, how can they reach out to you, and where is the best platform?
NikkiAllen.com. Just that simple.
Good. Amazing, amazing. So, definitely, I'm going to add that to the show notes for my audience to actually easily reach out. Yeah, thank you so much, Nikki. Your journey reminds us that, yeah, sometimes fictions become the safest place to tell the deepest truth, and that reclaiming your voice can be the most powerful act of self love. Nikki, thank you for sharing your experience that made you who you are today. And to everyone listening, if you have ever felt lost in love, remember you allowed it. You are allowed it, and so you have to choose yourself now. It's really a
Yes.
pleasure once again. Have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.